When we talk about definition of negotiation, here the parties are into discussion mode, they try to compromise and achieve an amicable settlement amongst themselves through the process of discussion. Please read the sentence which is there in the marked in red. Negotiation is achieving what parties want by convincing the person to whom parties want, from whom the parties want. So, here when I talk about compromise, the thing that comes to your mind is compromise means you give. Why can't you take it this way? Compromise means you take. So, negotiation is not about giving, negotiation is about taking. Negotiation is about taking what you want, giving what they want. So, it is how the whole negotiation is should be planned and should be implemented. So, it is not a place for competition, it is a place for cooperation. So, when we talk about negotiation, it requires three basic skills. The basic skills are the communicative skill, where the party needs to communicate effectively. Now, to communicate effectively, they need to articulate the same. First, they have to understand their requirements, put the requirements in a manner which is appealable to other person and communicate that. So, communicative skill is one of the basic important requirement. Second one is interactive skill. Presenting your case is not the end of discussion. When we say discussion, you should also have good ear to listen. So, listening skill, responding to the problems of the other person, showing empathy to the other person, these all form interactive skill. So, you have to listen verbally and non-verbally, you have to show empathy to other person's problem, and that is another important skill for a negotiator. Third one is convincing skill. So, once you articulate your requirements, once you show empathy and other thing, then you put forth your requirements forcefully, ensure that the other person agree to your requirement, that is convincing skill. So, once you possess these skills, you could be a good, efficient, effective negotiator. What are the advantages of this negotiation? And when I speak about advantages of negotiation, I am speaking advantages of mediation as well as conciliation. So, when advantages, faster, negotiation is under the complete control of the parties. Decision can be taken faster, whether to go ahead with negotiation or to end the negotiation process and look for other options to resolve the dispute. The decision can be taken quickly. If you decide to continue with negotiation, settlement could be arrived very quickly because it is under complete control of parties. Less expensive because you can fix the time and place of your convenience along with the convenience of the other party. As the convenience of the parties is taken into consideration, you can keep the expenditure to the bare minimum. And also it is important to note that when negotiation can be resolved at a faster pace, it can also ensure that the expenses are kept at bare minimum. Client's involvement is another biggest advantage of negotiation process. In all other process, court, arbitration, the client is kept at the periphery, and in the center it is the advocate who is giving the performance, and based on the advocate's performance the decision is given, and client has absolutely no control over the proceedings. But for a change, in negotiation and mediation, it is the client who is sitting at the center of the happenings. At the periphery, it is the advocate who is sitting there and looking into the matter. So, therefore, client's involvement is maximum in negotiation and mediation. Integrative approach. This is a process which brings parties together rather than divide them. In court proceedings, the court being an adversarial approach, court showing an adversarial approach, make sure that the relation between the parties is damaged, but whereas negotiation ensures that the relationship is built up between the parties. As I have already mentioned, negotiation cooperative rather than competitive, give what the other party wants, take what you want, let both parties be happy. As this is the approach of the parties, develops less ill will among the parties, the relationship is protected and both parties would be happy with the outcome of the proceedings. So, from advantages, let me move on to the kinds of negotiation. Generally, there are two kinds of negotiation which are adopted knowingly or unknowingly. One is hard negotiation, the other one is the soft negotiation. Hard negotiation, the party enters the negotiation chamber with an attitude to snatch everything possible from the other party, destroy the other party's needs and requirements, harm the other party's interest, so that he can achieve maximum what he wants. In simple word, hard negotiator comes with an attitude to exploit the other party. So, when you come with that attitude, you tend to behave aggressively with the other party, and this aggression can lead to fight between the parties. On the other hand, soft negotiator is quite opposite to hard negotiator. This man enters the negotiation chamber with one important objective: protect the relation between the parties. So, his concentration is on protecting the relationship rather than gaining advantage through gaining advantage in the dispute. So, therefore, he enters, treats the other party as a friend and tries to make offers so that the other party agrees to the resolution of dispute and he can protect the relationship. So, these are the two kinds of negotiation. Now, let me talk about the consequences. Now, let us see, a soft negotiator meets another soft negotiator. What happens? Both are making offers, both are soft, both are interested in protecting relationship. 100% there is going to be a settlement of dispute, and 100% both parties are going to be happy, best result. Take another situation where both parties are hard negotiators. So, when both are hard negotiators, both come to exploit each other. So, there is a hard negotiation where the parties treat each other as enemies, fight ensues, and at the end breakdown of negotiation, they walk back, next day they meet in the court. But the problem is the third situation, when hard negotiator meets a soft negotiator. It is a classic case of exploiting the soft negotiator. He would be exploited thoroughly. He thinks that he has successfully protected the relationship. Hard negotiator thinks that he has exploited sufficiently, and there ends the matter. So, my question now is, which one you want to be, hard negotiator or soft negotiator? Which is preferable? Which is the better option? My answer is none of them are a better option. It should be the principled negotiation rather than hard or soft. When I say principled negotiation, I am not talking about morals and ethics. I am talking about the 7 principles which are created by Harvard Law School. Professor Urey and Professor Fisher of Harvard Law School, they have come up with 7 principles to be followed during negotiation process. Once you adopt these 7 principles, you can successfully deal with any kind of situation. You do not treat the other party as a friend or enemy, you treat other party as other party who is in need of resolution of dispute, and you will resolve dispute if all 7 principles are fulfilled. Let me go through those principles one by one quickly. interest. So, when we sit for negotiation, we should assess the interest of the other party and interest of our own. So, when we check the interest of other party and our own, we can list out two kinds of interests, conflicting and common interest. See, conflicting interest is the reason why we are here on a negotiation table, because the conflicting interest has led to the dispute. So, those are listed. Why you need to list the common interest? Because these common interests are going to help us in convincing the other party that the negotiation is the best way, because we have so many things in common, and that would be a convincing answer to the other party when he is trying to walk out of negotiation process. So, that is why interest should be assessed. Options. To be a good negotiator, you should learn to think out of the box. So, options here I mean different ways in which you can settle the dispute. So, you offer them an agreement A, these are the things you are offering them. So, if the agreement A is rejected, then you go for agreement B, agreement C, you generate as many options as possible. So, when you generate options, you are asking the other parties to agree to it. So, that is the best way to resolve dispute. Rather than talking in one term, you should talk about in multiple terms. Something would appeal to their requirements. Third one is alternatives. So, when I sit on negotiation table, I do not sit at the table as the last option available in the world. I always explore alternatives. If negotiation fails, what I am going to do next? Once I have strong alternatives at my disposal, I would be a very confident negotiator. I will not be bullied because I have strong alternatives. So, that is another thing which needs to be checked. Legitimacy. When I make any demand on a negotiation table, I should legitimize my demand. If I say I should be compensated with 1 lakh, immediately I should ask question to myself, why not 99,000? Why not 1,01,000? Why it should be 1 lakh only? So, I am going to give justification, and justification provides legitimacy to your demand. Once you make a legitimate demand, refusing becomes very difficult. Relationship, and this is one reason why we are on a negotiation table, because the relationship needs to be protected, and the relationship can be protected only when you have a proper communication. Now, communication, to and fro talking, avoid misunderstandings, select the one method of communication and only one person should communicate. It is to avoid all the confusions and misunderstandings. And last one is the most important, the commitment. When we settle a dispute, we enter into an agreement. If the agreement is not respected, what happens? We go to court to enforce that agreement. So, we go to the court and tell the court that we had negotiation, we had settlement, and settlement led to this agreement, and the other person is not respecting it. So, please enforce it. So, whatever we have achieved through informal justice system came to naught, because we are finally we are before the court. So, why the other party has gone to the court? It is because the other party feels that the settlement agreement is not in his favor, it is not for his benefit. So, therefore, obtaining commitment to the settled agreement is very important, otherwise you would end up in the court again. So, these are the principles should be followed in the court proceedings, in the negotiation proceedings. So, therefore, hard, soft are not the method of negotiation, it should be principled negotiation.